Namaskar, hello and welcome to this third edition of the Learning Hour, where are learning from the eminent educationists from across the nook and cranny of the country into their inroads as to how the national education policy has been transliterated into their individual educational practices. They say that any mammoth undertaking at a national or a global level, it eventually boils down to a institutional and then to an individual level. And We Are Treating India felt that 4 years since NEP has been promulgated, it has been brought about. So how our eminent educational institutions are finding it reverberating in their individual institutions, and we are taking like the preamble to the constitution. Our constitution happens to be the quite a bulky, lengthy, and all kind of epithets we can ascribe to them. Similarly, the NEP which came about as the draft version in 2019, it was perhaps a very prolonged version, around 500 plus pages. Professor Manjul Bhargav, an exponent in mathematics and music, he brought about specific action pointers all across. And then NEP was abridged to around 66 pages for the ease of discourse and implementation for that matter. So these 22 principles, they constitute the core letter and spirit of NEP. And That's why we have just put it across on the screen for all you to watch. And we had very intense and very passionate discussions for the principles 1 and 2. And these principles are quite in succession, starting from recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capabilities of each student, by sensitizing both the teachers and the parents. And very eminent panelists, they talked about that education is not just for 4, 5, 6 hours. Within the school campuses, the educators are doing phenomenal job out there. The teachers, it came out that they are perhaps the most busiest entities on the planet. But the parents have to also take upon that charge of educating the kids when they are back home and spending two-thirds of their time in the household, in the community for that matter. And how this identification of the student per se, उनकी जो नैसर्गिक प्रतिभा है, उनका जो अपना स्वरूप है, a lot of discussion happened, and that was really illuminating and learning. And then what was important was why and how to accord the highest priority to achieve the foundational literacy and numeracy. And the grade 3 has been put up as an NEP goal key up to grade 3. This should be accepted around. Today is the third session whereby we are taking upon this discourse further and forward. And whereby the buzzword is, the core word is flexibility. Flexibility so that the learners have the ability to choose their learning trajectories and programs, and thereby choose their own paths in life according to their talents and interests. So, as Professor H.C. Verma used to say earlier, that our education system had become a Bata shoe company where a grade 3, grade 4, they all have to tread a kind of a single trajectory. But that's what NEP differentiates it all together and says that how to bring about flexibility in the whole space and the entire dynamics of personalized learning, things like that. And today we have been joined in by a triumvirate, yet another, I would say, mesmerizing panel of eminent experts from Dr. Anupma Mishra joining us from the land of knowledge, the pristine seat of learning, Kashi, Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. Then down south, we have Muhammad Azhar Sahab from Knowledge Academy, Chennai. And then somewhere in between, the science and the tech capital of the country, the silicon capital of the India, where a lot of innovations are happening, is to make this flexibility encapsulated. It's not humanly possible. Perhaps, I think Madam Minni Adhikari from PNC Cognitio School, Bangalore. आज के सत्र का प्रारंभ हम चाहेंगे डॉक्टर अनुपमा मिश्रा जी के प्रारंभिक उद्बोधन से, क्योंकि परंपरागत जो हमारी ज्ञान परंपराएं हैं, द इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम्स विच एनईपी आल्सो टच्ड अपॉन फिनोमिनली वेल, एंड इंडिया हैज बीन अ लैंड ऑफ एसिमिलेशन. हम लोगों ने लेट नोबल थॉट्स कम टू अस फ्रॉम ऑल डायरेक्शंस. वी हैव नेवर बी I would say adverse to any kind of learning from different paradigms or different things. So on the foundations of our paramparagat gyan parampara, as to how we can further and forward this very principle of NEP of invoking flexibility into the entire learning, I would say, discourse over there. Over to Dr. Anupama Mishra, ma'am.
So good afternoon and Jai Hind, everyone. And thank you, sir. Thank you, Surbhi ma'am, and welcome to Mr. Muhammad Azhar and Mini ma'am over here on this platform. Truly said, from the land of temples, two temples of learning, I'm sure the journey is beautiful. And what we believe, what we are like, we as educators here believe, that of course, even if the end of the educational system in India, but if we talk about its deeper characteristics, so either it's flexibility you talked about, or holistic development, or multidisciplinary things, critical thinking, creativity, I think I as a person, I as an individual, do strongly believe in, and even my team does so. Even if we wish good morning and Jai Hind early in the morning in my school, my children do touch the feet of their gurus and take Jai Hind, ma'am. And so either it's sanskar or either it's the modernism. I think there has to be a mixed blend of both tradition with the modernism to come to what NEP states for. So we cannot leave our roots, our Vedas, the way NCFO has introduced, now coming again, Panchadi and Panchakosha, they are introducing with the similar lines, making it gel beautifully with the national education policy. I think if we are not able to do that, probably our objectives are not going to be met completely if we focus only the child at the center. Because I strongly affirm that whatever we do, either it's examination, assessment, making curriculum, talking about career counseling, whatever it is, ultimately we, the child itself and the parents, we all look forward to the a happy human being at the core who emerges confident, who is ready to fight out the bigger battle outside the boundaries of the school. So I think talking about national education policy and how its flexibility is going out to work and mold an individual child for the forthcoming future, it's a bigger question, and I think the answer also is bigger.
I think some technical glitch. Madam has really given her opening remarks. So moving forward, yeah, we have been joined in by ma'am. Ma'am, please continue. Yeah. Yeah, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Please
please
continue.
continue, ma'am.
No, no, I said, so today with this forum, with this session, we all are going to sit together and look at the answer forward, how we are going to do it, or what we are doing. Let's share and let's learn from each other. For CBSE inspection, I'm sure everyone understand the motive is not to go and do the postmortem of other school or another school to be able to get affiliated or to get the extension to compare with the another schools of the country.
Mhm.
So similarly, when we are sitting here, let's browse through, let's brainstorm a bit, and let's see what the answer comes through. And through after our discussions, that's what I'm waiting for.
Mhm. Thank you, ma'am, for your opening remarks. I think I would now like to bring in Mohammed Azhar Sahab from Chennai Children's Knowledge Academy to tell us more as to what NEP framers meant regarding the flexibility side of it from his vast educational experience, and specifically how, in the ambit of his own school, this flexibility is being imparted or given to the young learners. Because students in the early childhood age, they are so fearful. They all pick up learning in their own particular fashion. So over to Mohammed Azhar Sahab.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for Rethink India for giving me an opportunity and providing this platform to discuss on NEP, which is very critical. And it's a great initiative to discuss each principle on a panel. And it's going to be a powerhouse of NEP at the end of all this discussion. Thanks for that, and thanks for for that. When I look at this principle, what I understand, and when we had discussion with the NEP community as well, where the Manjul Bhargava and other people who had discussion with Rethink India. What I mean here is, see, there was if you look at before NEP, there was very various options for children to explore whatever they want to explore. Now, bringing up NEP, this has opened up a huge opportunities and various option for the children to guide as well, and as well to find out their own interest, passion, and bring so much flexibility that there is no stop for people to learn, explore, and enjoy the process of learning, as well as becoming a competent and match to the global education. So that is what, now when I see flexibility, now what NEP has brought in as a flexibility. One is the child has to go through the skill education, number one, and the flexible in the assessment part, where a child can write two assessments in a year. That is again the flexibility.
Mhm.
And in the grade 10, now 11th and 12th, the choice of subjects before it, though it was like they can choose this one multiple groups like bio group, science group, computer science group, and pure science like that. But now the cross discipline, like a child can study computer science as well as biology or commerce. There was no option like the child can study science plus commerce. That was not
Mhm.
there. So that has been brought in. So again, that is in today's world of globalization and 21st century, this has opened up a child's future. For example, a child can be an entrepreneur being a doctor. So that possibility is being brought up in this of cross-discipline, multidisciplinary learning, and also the flexible part of assessment, competency based assessment, and all those stuff, all those project based learning, all the opening has been brought in. Again, in the higher education system, we have certification, diploma, honors, then we have degree as well. So 4 years has been brought in. So again, that is there is a and there is option to child to take a gap year as well. So
Mhm.
which is equally matching to the international standards, and no, the child can start, sit, relax, no pressure, flexible. That flexibility has been brought in, and this can happen is not in grade 10, but rather it can happen from grade 6 as well. It is not required that the child should take only in grade 10 or grade 8. So that is what I see a flexibility, which will purely shape up the career of the children based on their interest and their own passion. So that is what from my side.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
I
And
think.
also the career guidance has been brought in. So importance has been given in NEP, where the child has to be given a career guidance cell, career guidance, and all revolving around all those things is a very
Mhm.
great step. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. I think the appreciation of the entire intent and purport of NEP is quite out there
Yeah.
across. I would now like to bring in Madam Mini Adhikari as to how this very principle in practice, because having a principle is one part of the story, but then deploying it, transliterating it across into the institutional framework, operationalizing it across is perhaps the biggest challenge out here. So let's hear as to how PNC Cognitio School in Bangalore is really championing this very principle of NEP 2020. Madam Mini Adhikari.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Raghav. Thank you, Surabhi, for hosting me. And thank you to the eminent speakers here, Ms. Anupama and Mr. Azhar. Um, yes, I would like to go a little to the background that I'm heading Cambridge curriculum here at PNC Cognitio, and very happy that we are discussing NEP. It's a very forward thinking policy, wherein today, when we are discussing about flexibility, since as I mentioned that we are doing Cambridge curriculum here, a lot of flexibility is given to the students. Now, whether we spoke about giving the chance to the child to be able to chunk their learning curve. I want to take 3 subjects in the month of, I'm ready in the month of March. So Cambridge allows you to, it offers you 3 series of exams. For example, you can choose to write subjects in Feb March, or
Mhm.
you can chunk it, you can write certain subjects in the month of May June, or if you want, you can write it in the month of October November. So there are a lot of students, and we are talking about passion driven learning, that skill development. Let the child choose what his or her liking is to make the career in life. Now, there are a lot of students who pursue sports or it could be anything else other than sports also, that they might be very passionate about. They want to pursue that as a career, and they, from very early in life, they're very clear about it. So what happened earlier was our education system was not giving that kind of forum to the children, because we were very 8 to 3 kind of school, and if you miss out on the assessment, you do not get promoted. There was a whole bunch of restrictions there. Now, with the flexibility of having 3 series of exams, if you want to focus only on 2 subjects for the month of February and March, you choose your subjects.
Mhm. Okay.
And as rightly mentioned by Mr. You go for pure science, pure commerce, or a pure humanities. Thanks to a whole bunch of liberal arts colleges which are now coming up, we allow children to choose a combination of subject. Like, hello, am I there, or is the screen
Yeah, ma'am.
frozen?
Yeah, ma'am. A
Okay,
slight. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all right. As long as I'm audible,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's streaming.
Please.
All right. So children can choose their packages. Like, I have a student who is taking economics with physics. Now,
Mhm.
there is a child who would like to take a psychology with statistics. Now,
Mhm.
knowing that we are in the 21st century, where we are completely driven by AI powered various apps. It's there, whether you like it or not, you accept it, you don't accept it, it's there, and that's a fact of life, right? So the combination of subjects is completely based on what is the need of the hour, and there is
Mhm.
no more saying that you can only choose PCMB. If you are from science stream, you can make your combinations from whether you want a combination from humanities and commerce or science, any of it, you have the flexibility to do that. I think Mr. Azar also mentioned about career counseling. Now that becomes very, very important, because if children have not been guided at early age that what are the various options, unfortunately, we still live in our society, still has a huge bunch of people who still think life is only about engineering and medicine. And we still, even though, yes, there is a whole lot of transformation, we've really moved on a lot, but I'm sure that all of us sitting here today understand that when parents come to us, they still talk about only these two streams, right? So if as educators in school we do not start training our children, giving them that kind of exposure. So what here at PNC, what we do is we give a lot of guest lectures. We invite people from different segments, and the easiest for us is to reach out to our own parents. Now,
Mhm.
thankfully, I would say here we have a little edge, because we are living in a city of Bangalore, and our cohort of parents is a varied, it's a mixed group, I would say. So the easiest part for us is to reach out to our own parents and ask them to give a guest lecture to our students. That's one side, which is a very easy thing to achieve. What we have also added here is a little more structured format of career counseling right from grade 8, so that when we are talking about different career options to students, they start thinking of a life beyond these two categories that we just spoke about, that there are opportunities
Mhm.
beyond these two areas. So yeah, it's just about these two things, because ultimately the goal of education, for me, for any educator, is that when a child is going to graduate from school, he or she must have a holistic picture, you know and it is only in school that we have the opportunity to give various exposure, whether it is the form of art, dance, music, performing, and of course the core subjects. That kind of exposure can only be given in school life, because
Mhm.
once you're in college, you already have streamlined, you have made up your mind, you've narrowed down your channels on what I'm going to pursue. So yeah, those are my opening remarks that I would like to.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. I think what we learn from our stalwarts today, that flexibility has translated into three major dimensions. One is obviously the flexibility to assess yourself, because examinations still and they will continue to formulate the cornerstone of all the learning levels. So I can pick up any assessment twice a year. So that gives me a lot of, I would say, comfort as a student for that matter. And then all sort of permutations and combinations are perhaps now available under the NEP, whereby, as ma'am mentioned, that like physics and some of the humanity subjects, economics and statistics are just fine, but then psychology and statistics, so all kind of permutations, students are really experimenting with that. Now my next question, logical question across is, it's fine that students with this flexibility are experimenting phenomenally well, and just 4 years, and that too, it was a COVID year when it was launched in 29th July 2020. And 4 years is still in the whole national edifice, is still a very short time. My question is primarily to Dr. Anupama Mishra and then to our other panelists. We used to have a kind of assessment. One is my choice. I want to eat this today. I want to eat this today. That is very fine. But then, what intrinsic capabilities I have in me? Do we have a mechanism to suggest to the students from, I would say, the expert desks of the schools, the teachers, the principals? They can assess well. Oh, this is the kind of, I would say, intrinsic capabilities you have, and so you should pick up this I would say this couple of subjects. So the flexibility which is guided both by the parents and also by some kind of जिसको हम लोग कहते थे स्वभाव परीक्षण, your intrinsic capabilities out there, even if you want to become a sports person, so what sports you are really great or good at. So Dr. Mishra, how this component to guide, like Madam Inyadikari said that Bangalore is endowed with a lot of parents from different walks of life, but perhaps in Varanasi, how to guide the aspirational parents as to what streams their kids should take up, what combination they should really pick up, so and so forth.
I would also like to add a dimension here to this question, ma'am, that, the sixth, seventh, and eighth standards, and then when we talk of the from eighth class, we're having the assessments. So when we are doing this assessment, in what field, how do we judge that the student is, made up or good for which career? Before that, how are we nurturing the multi talents, multidisciplinarity? As you said, as many Adhikari ma'am very beautifully said, psychology with statistics and economics with physics. So first is instilling those multiple attributes, love for learning in terms of various subjects, the diversity of them, and then culling out from the students as in which student is inclined or attitudinally inclined towards a particular stream or a particular combination of subjects. So I think this is the fundamental question, if ma'am would throw light
Thank
on.
you. Thank you. Nice, but very intrinsically carved out question. So that it amalgates everything of Varanasi and the school. Of course, very rightly told by Mini ma'am that the choice of streams, which varies from a psychology to a humanities, everything that's about. Because when you are talking about NEP3 principle, the basic is to move away from the narrow focus on academics to more and more intellectual, emotional, physical, ethical, and moral competencies to be built upon in the children. So, not restricted to a specific stream. Either if there is a science child who is flexible, enough opportunity is given to him to take a vocal music, tabla, applied arts, painting, or a computer science or a Bharatnatyam, absolutely fine. They can opt for a focused activity. You can call leisure time activity also. Get nominated in the vocal music or a sitar in Prayag Sangeet Samiti and have a professional qualification side by side. And I think even if the children, those who are sitting for IIT JEE, because Varanasi now has become a hub of eminent coachings also, like a JRS, like Origins, and like so many. So in that race of coming to IIT JEE, there's another part to every child, which is still to be nurtured, which is still simple, which is still masoom, that you can capture very easily. What you need, little more empathy, little more coming close to the child. What we are doing in my institution at Sunbeam, of course, we in our curriculum have incorporated multidisciplinary and cross-disciplinary approach. If I have to teach water, I can take water as a physics, I can take water as a literature in Hindi, I can take it in English, I can take it in geography, I can take it into the civilization and so on. So most of the subjects we can take it as a theme and teach. Which also becomes a key factor to, not to just to sow, I would say, critical thinking, creativity, problem solving. We keep on talking about a 21st century skill, go for communication, collaboration, creative thinking. But in core, what it lies? Few things like project work starting from class 2. And they have taken as simple a topic like people who work for us, in which there is a milkman, there is a postman, in which there is a carpenter, in which there is a washerman. Children are divided into group. Someone is researching only on the uniform of a postman. Someone is cutting and pasting the picture. Someone is preparing a PPT. Someone is looking for a poem on postman. Aya, dakiya, dak laya, dakiya, dak laya. So what happens? All 40 children in group, they are working, divided into 10 different professions, having role models, role play, preparing presentation. But the chapter is never taught by the teacher. They have learnt on their own while they research. So I think the kind of involvement and engagement that chapter is giving to the children, that becomes itself a parameter for assessing for the teachers. Plus,
lovely
project work, having lesson plans designed according to the multiple intelligence, according to individual needs. That does not make only your classroom multiple colored, rangeen, but yes, caters to the individual need of the children. Some teachers, some of the colleagues told to me when I listened to the music, because we as an educators do appear for examination, certain examination in the institution on reading, creative thinking. So we have our question papers also. So they say, ma'am, give me some time. I want to go to the computer lab and put some music and read. I cannot read with music. I'm quite silent. So therefore, thus the children are. Someone is learning 7, 1 just 7, 7 2 just 14 by jumping on the tree, and someone is writing and learning. So lesson plan design, because the complete lesson plan writing is based on IBLD, that is integrated blended learning design, which different tactics and techniques starting from thinking process to assessment is involved in that particular chapter, where teachers, students, parents are engaged in making child learn that. For the junior school, nursery to class 2, we have already introduced holistic progress report card, which is designed as per the norms of the CBSE, but they are, they have got 3 different layers: beginners, developing, and advanced. So the rubric is also designed. Either it's a ki matra se a ki matra, or either it is about a concept of road communication. It's into 3 steps. And we do assess बच्चे को अभी अ की मात्रा पे प्रैक्टिस करना आवश्यक है. I mean, Shuddha Hindi, right now I'm not able to get it. And the child has already learned to write a properly. So the parent, and this, along with one report card, goes half year parent in the form of the sheets stuck in the almanac, which talks about बच्चे को अ की मात्रा पे अभी ध्यान देने की जरूरत है, अ से आ की जरूरत है. So what happens? Reading, writing, comprehending skills All the three skills are very specifically divided, and the parents are being intimated, and the work is being done by the in classroom accordingly by the teacher. I have written few things so that I'm reading from here, because the moment you were posing the question to me, I was also thinking what is there in our system that we are doing for the assessment. Classes 1 to 5, like 6 to 12, CBSE has already introduced uh, your artwork, your field work, and your attitude towards the school, attitude towards the teacher, and so many things to be done. For 1 to 5, we have subject-wise rubrics, which again talks about कि बच्चे को उच्चारण का अभ्यास करना चाहिए, बच्चे को उच्चारण का अभ्यास करना आ गया है, बच्चे को मात्राओं को जोड़ते हुए वाक्यों को पूरी तरह से पढ़ने की आवश्यकता है. Again, there are 3 levels, and to be very honest, let me tell you, Raghav sir, your holistic progress report card has been introduced last year or a year before. This rubrics at Sunbeam, we are doing from last 20 years.
Wow.
Last 20 years, we are doing this rubric. It was 1 to 8. But when we got the NCERT pattern, of course, we moved for class 6 to 8. But this 1 to 5 pattern, we could not get anywhere. So this is being practiced from last 20 years. I joined in year 2000. And I think 2005, we started. So in initial days, it was in the form of a simple assignment like this. There was something made, and we used to give. For the multiple intelligence also, in multiple intelligence, we kept on giving dominant, dormant, with a smiley or with a sad face, putting the stamp for the child to understand, with some concepts being cleared for the parent. But we were giving the assessment sheets like this for English, Hindi, maths, and so on. Now we have prepared a booklet. You open for Anupama Mishra, that booklet. First, you will find English. Second, you will find Hindi. Third, you will find maths. Then EVS. Then art. Then towards teacher. Then towards the school and discipline. So in itself, it becomes a very informal kind of assessment, but covering all the aspects of the child's education and skill as well.
I think Dr. Mishra has covered upon the very yet another dimension of flexibility. One was from the student's perspective, picking up a kind of a mix of streams or the flexibility of assessment. But what Madam has touched upon is the flexibility on the part of the teacher to expand the dimension of that very thematic to all possible levels, like expanding the creative imagination of the child. मैडम said वाटर को मैं साहित्यिक रूप से भी पढ़ा सकती हूँ. उसकी फिजिक्स का भी एक एंगल है जिसको इंटीग्रेशनिस्ट लर्निंग कहते हैं. जल तो वही तत्व है, तो रहीमन पानी राखी और बिन पानी सब सून. तो काव्य से भी आ सकता है. वाटर H2O, chemistry, and then the physics of water, the surface tension, the viscosity. And then you can also go to the economics aspect of water as to the blue gold, how the global wars are to be
You can go
fought.
to English, the rhyme of ancient mariner.
Yes,
Water,
yes,
water everywhere, not a drop to drink. So
yes.
you
So
can
somewhere
go
or the
to
other,
any
the
specificity.
distinction, perhaps this will be a subject matter of yet another principle, but what Dr. Mishra has brought about in the flexibility part of it. So, ma'am, a normal curiosity that earlier the CBSE or the NCRT frameworks, what kind of flexibility have they really given to the facilitators, to the teachers per se, or to the school, or to the honorable principal? Like we saw one flexibility due to the COVID part, that even the board examination assessment, the authority was given to the institutional examination board, that you are the people who you have trained, you come out with a kind of an assessment. So, what kind of a flexibility on the assessment parameters have been really given?
I think with this policy coming into existence, there is a great shift that is going from the rote memorization coming to the practical approach. That's my one observation. And instead of repetitive task, like if I'm giving a homework, एक बुक वर्क भी किया, एक नोटबुक में भी किया, एक ग्राम have moved beyond, and it's more emphasis on the problem solving, critical thinking, more on analytical thinking. And that's what example you see when you reach to classes 11 and 12. When you are pushing or preparing your children to go for CUET, so the preparation has to begin from class 8. If in your school your children do not know what is like general aptitude, what is logical thinking, what is reasoning, we start talking about with them about class reaching into class 11. Now there is a CUT practice, it is getting incorporated in your timetable, and let's start working on that. So this is a major shift. And what from last 1 year, my observation, because in my institution there are around 3,200 children studying at in a shift at a time. There is a change in the mindset of the parents also toward this. Very slow, very, not too approachable, not too open to accept all this. And it will still take time, but slowly and slowly there is a visible change in the mindset of the parents, because the way I see right now happening, it's not to brag about, but the way the parents do want their children to go for, how to say, either they talk about internationalism, you talk about leadership, you talk about adventure, either there are different expeditions or the field trip. Just now we are like right now, today, we are getting engaged into CTL, that courage to lead, coach. You might have heard by Mr. Parminder Singh, and we are have got associated with NCRT, Mr. Sandeep Sethi. We are doing two projects. One is uh, festival through the monuments.
Okay.
Then second is we are doing financial literacy through literature. So I've already taken 300 stories and 54 novels of Prem Chand. The entire school is exploring it. And imagine when all the children, all the teachers, they start putting their own exhibition in a group of four in the school, the whole Prem Chand is covered. So I don't think there would be any beautiful topic more than the Prem Chand in Lamhi beside my school to take over. And today you can see in my school, everyone reading Prem Chand across. Or class 8, running to different monuments of Varanasi. Education where there are, in a Guru Dham temple, I think they have explored and brought 20 mathematical concepts. They are talking about their historical concepts. They are talking about geographical concepts. They are talking about physics. They are talking about कौन सा गुंबद कितने डायमेंशन का था, तो क्यों था, और सूर्य की किरणें अगर गुरुधाम कॉलोनी के फर्स्ट टर्म पे पड़ती थी, थर्ड पे नहीं, तो क्यों नहीं पड़ती थी.
Wow, wow, wow.
So I think there is a shift.
Great. Anupam ma'am touched upon the
Which
subject
as
of the
an educator, I
flexibility,
can
the openness of the parents' mindset, because at times our educators always say that it's the parental pressure onto which the NCRT or the NEP has given the flexibility to the educators at large, and parents are opening up. But at the end of the day, it's a linear kind of a ranking or a rating which everyone looks at कि मेरा बच्चा तो क्लास में फर्स्ट आया है, टॉप किया है. So in this flexible model of learning, where every kid's uniqueness is identified, it is the principal one is somewhere mapping with the principal three. My question is first to the Madam Mini Adhikari. Bangalore is again a cosmopolitan city, and people, parents have an open mind, but they are also the most aspirational ones. At the end of the day, they have to get their ward admitted to one or the other premier institutions for that matter. So, how it is ending up into practice? How ascribing numbers to accomplishments is working at the senior levels? Activity based learning is fine at the primary or the middle level of learning, but at the higher level, how this perhaps the change in the mindset of the parents is actually being witnessed at your school, ma'am?
So, again, I'll like to say that since we are doing Cambridge, here, when children are assessed, of course, right from early years to grade A level is equivalent to our 12th standard. Um, Children do not get marked as in with numbers, but of
Mm-hmm.
course, when you are doing the assessment, we have something called as formative assessment, which is an ongoing assessment, because we do not stress the children that it's only end of the year or end of the semester that a whole chunk is going to come. And hence the formative assessment, something in the lines of what Anupama ma'am kept saying, that it's important that children are going back and doing their study in various forms. It's just not paper pencil, right? It's in various forms, how you're giving the exposure to the child. I just like to give an example. Like just now, we finished with our Dashera break. And when you talk about homework that is going to be given, the moment you use the word homework, everybody's stressed out. And traditionally, we have seen that the homework is done by the parents more than the child. Whether it's a project or the assignment, the parents
Okay.
get burnt out. So the teachers here were very creative in terms of, they said, okay, Dashera means you're probably going to meet your grandparents or your aunts and uncles, or somebody is going to visit your house, whatever it is. We want you to build that bond, that connection with grandparents or with your relatives, or your known, your friends or whoever. And here's something very interesting. We want you, ask them for their favorite dish and prepare that dish with them. So you could make a movie, you could come
Mhm.
back, you could write a blog, you could come
Mhm.
back and speak in the class. Now, with that, what has happened is not only that they have built that connection, that kind of bond, the vocabulary is generated. We are talking about skill development. They've learned one new art, one new skill. Now, all this, when they are coming back, we also spoke about multidisciplinary, right? We also do multidisciplinary in the form of somewhat like what ma'am was talking about.
Mhm.
So all this is, you can't put a number to it, right?
Mhm. Got
So
it.
just yesterday there was a child during my rounds, an earlier child, which is equivalent to our kindergarten. He was talking about dosa, that I prepared dosa, and
Mhm.
he described in his own words. But can I put a number to it that his dosa was 5 out of 10? We really can't do that,
Lov-
right? So
Lovely.
but looking at the skill, that what the child has learned out of the whole exercise, we ultimately, yes, a report card has to go to the parent. So we grade them, we give them like there are proficient learner, we have our own titles, which is equivalent to like ABCD. But as you move to the higher grades, there also children are given grades now, and there is a
Oh, we just lost her. No worries. We'll just get
it,
her.
it showed that it's, am I there?
Yeah, ma'am. Please, please.
Just wait a
Okay.
minute.
All right. So now senior grades, that is, now here is something which I again would like to bring in, that how Cambridge curriculum is very much in line with NEP, because we already have a checkpoint at grade 5. We have a checkpoint at grade 8. The board exam, which comes IGCSE, is the ninth and 10th. It culminates at 10th. 11th standard is a board. 12th standard is a board. So, fifth standard, when the papers are coming all the way from Cambridge, children have already got that kind of exposure, that these are the skill sets which I was supposed to have been prepared on, and you are being marked or you're being assessed according to global standards. So when you're getting your evaluated sheet, it just doesn't show your score. It also shows you the global average. So you know that my skill set or my child is standing at whatever juncture they are, and you can do that kind of comparison also.
Mhm.
Moving
Mhm.
to the higher grades, that is the Cambridge IGCSE 10th, ASA 11th and 12th, they are given grades again in those range of the marks, because ultimately what happens when these children have to take admissions into Indian universities or universities abroad, these marks, though even it's a grade, the universities are asking for equivalent marks.
Mhm.
Now, that's a little parody if you see that. Even though we were giving grade, we have to show them the conversion because they have to be accepted by the universities or the colleges who will not understand grade, but they want raw marks. Right? So
Yes,
there is a
yes.
whole lot of thing which needs to be done so that our
Mm.
entire system of education across
Yes,
the
yes.
boards, across the
I
globe.
think Madam Adhikari has touched upon that Achilles heels because what happens in the school education, I'm just coming to you, ma'am. The whole schooling experience is somewhere affected or influenced by the school exit. I would say success of the students at large. As ma'am said that now after doing the 12 years of schooling with the grades, with all those multi-dimensional assessments and those subjective, I would say, splurging matlab, in very very beautiful ways assessments are done at the primary or middle level, but when a kid has to get admitted to a higher education institution, that transition time, it becomes all the big challenge. Like Professor Jagdesh Kumar, he's very hunky-dory about the whole NEP spirit and letter, but then the reality of a CUET examination, I might be having a very elaborate assessment all through my career, but then my eventual success in my family, in my community, in my school, even. It will be judged by my CUET rank. It will be judged by my IIT rank or a CLAT rank or any of the professional examinations I'm going towards. So, how this interface, I think Anupam ma'am has raised, and perhaps she's quite efficient. She has also mentioned about the coming of the coaching behemoths in the city of Varanasi. Then these coachings take away, you have to cram it well. Understanding is one thing, and then delivering in the 3 hour window for those standardized examinations is yet another skill, which perhaps this flexibility curriculum doesn't give you. So, over to Dr. Mishra to respond to, I think, the issue raised by Madam Adhikari, and I have just added upon to it, Madam Mishra. Yeah.
Thank you, Mini ma'am, because it was quite an. You know what had happened just now? I got to know more about Cambridge because we are also running a Cambridge program in the campus. Just before 2 days, we have got upgradation till class 9 and have become mentor school in Uttar Pradesh.
Lovely.
This is the Cambridge program that we are running. Our children first time appeared for class 5 examination, so formative assessment.
Checkmate.
So of course, I'm amazed the way Cambridge curriculum is different from CBSE, and then lineating both of them, the way they are very sharp at the global perspectives and everything. It's amazing for us also. So Raghav sir, what ma'am is saying, you said initially, you commented कि ये assessment वगैरह very good at till primary and middle level, multidisciplinary, and what about seniors? So we have in the school CBSE plus 2 schools only one option left. Either your children should be topping in your CUET or put them on such a platform where they are ready to go for months, debates, extempore, creative writing, group discussions, quizzes, sports, national events, so that when they pass out your class 12, even with 75%, the ECA that we are particularly talking about for the entry into the good colleges should be standing there along with them. This year, my 5 of the children got admission in Hindu University. 2 of them have gone, one of the University of Stanford, and one, Arpita Singh, has gone University of Buckingham just now. So, you know what has happened? This was a miracle. The child who was very average got 12 marks under sports quota in shooting. And from one, I'm forgetting the name, Sant Gyaneshwar or something college, he directly went to Hindu college. Someone from Matrei going to Hindu college, someone going to LSR. So my ECA quota with 5% weightage and sports quota with 12% weightage was such a savior for the school's name, where children have gone. What
Lovely,
journey have they
lovely,
taken?
lovely,
So
lovely,
I
lovely.
think this platform, the moment they reach to class 9, we have to tell them, now you are supposed to open your wings. So even if you are little average at your academic, at least you are better than other. We need to give them weapons. Tu nahi, ye nahi, or sahi. So I think
Oh,
that is what that they have to prepare to go for or something else.
I think Mohammed Azhar Sahab wants to come in on this point, and then I have a last question to all our three panelists. Mohammed Azhar Sahab, please, yeah.
So, what Anupam ma'am shared, I want to add some more thing. See, the CUT part or the government examination getting into that is one hardly 10 or 20% of the whole system.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who wants to go on merit, that's the only option. If you want to
Mm-hmm.
go, you can compete for 99.9 to 99.97. You can compete with that. But majority of the colleges, eligibility criteria is 60%, and you get into management quota. That is one option of getting into that. Okay. And one of the disadvantage of NEP is only this, I would say, where this is not very clear. Though all the systems has been changed, only the transition part is not very clear. Otherwise, NEP is for amazing thing it has done. Adding to that, now there are universities, liberal arts universities across the India, across the states, even in Bangalore, in UP and Delhi NCR, all the universities, which I can name them, like Atria University in Bangalore, Reva University, and BM Munjal University, NIT University, Ahmedabad University, all the progressive universities across the states, even in Bombay, we have Atlas Skill University. So these are all liberal arts, which they are taking children based on the profile, not based on the marks. Across the India, now it is mushrooming. Even in Bangalore, you have Alliance University, APAS. So the basic criteria what they ask is 60%, and any child should be able to get 60% average. Any good child. So that should not be a problem. So I think, and there is also a debate whether the 12th standard marks should be taken up for the college admissions or not. Still, it is in a debatable position.
Lovely. I think this very component of this NEP principle, it has opened up a couple of more very deeper questions for the policy frameworks. Perhaps as when the NEP review would be done, perhaps this interface problem would be addressed, would be considered further, because then we have an entire segment of CFTIs, the centrally funded technical institutions, the top notches one. Then the private universities, deemed universities, the whole strata of higher education is out there. So perhaps maybe in season 2 of this learning hour, we will have our eminent educationists from the school segment and also the higher segment as to how to smoothen this transition. But at least we are having happy children, and Anupa ma'am said very lovely कि ये नहीं तो वो सही, and this NEP is actually inclusive in nature, it is child centric, कि केवल 1% ऑफ द टॉप ऑफ द पिरामिड के लिए पूरे स्कूल का जो एक कल्चर होता था कि कीप ऑन क्रैमिंग मैथमेटिक्स, की स्टेम वाले ही बेटर है, कॉमर्स वाले तो जैसे गधे हैं. सो दैट काइंड ऑफ डिस्टिंक्शन भाई इन दिस मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी वर्ड एंड इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी वर्ड एंड स्पेस साइंटिस्ट दे नीड इकोनॉमिक्स अलॉन्ग विद, भैया उसके बिना काम नहीं चलना है. So I think this is phenomenal. My last lap, we are touching the last 10 minutes of this learning hour. कि मैडम इतना काम जब आपके पास आ गया है, it used to be a linear function, but now what Madam Mishra was talking about, what Madam Adhikari was talking about, Azhar Sahab was talking about, teachers would have been really, I would say, in a hole, I would say, they would be drowning in work. So how are you managing? It would have become so very tough as principal to cope up with this deluge of work which has come onto your desk. And the kind of incentives and structures, तो आप कैसे manage कर रहे हैं मैम, the administration of NEP at the school level? I think it has really become intractable for that matter. So just quick answers on that.
For me, it's with the kind of mode I'll take my task, my teachers will take it. If I take it as a challenge, my team stands with me. If we take it, फिर से आ गया, they will say, "मैम फिर से आ गया." So when it is challenge time, I don't look behind.
Lovely.
Let's do it. The sub, let's do it more than me. People will stand.
Let's do it. The let's do it
Let's
attitude.
do it. And there is no option. ये कोई option मिला ही नहीं है हम लोग को, ना मुझे ना तुम्हें. अच्छा कल कर लिया जाएगा या बाद में देखेंगे दिवाली छुट्टी. Let's
So are the
see.
teachers actually enjoying this play of NEP?
Next time, send me a link. I'll put my teachers to talk to you.
Okay, okay, lovely, lovely. Madam Adhikari, Mini Adhikari, ma'am.
So, first of all, Mr. Raghav, thank you so much. At least I'm happy that somebody understands the amount of work that the teachers do, right? And because I strongly believe that a teacher's job does not finish between 8 to 3. Yes,
Yes.
there is always the work that she is carrying home. Even probably in the sleep, they are thinking of, "Oh, okay, kal ke liye kya tayar karna hai? Have I done it? Do I have my teaching aids? How can I?" And today now it's about innovating. It's not just about the chart work and the aids that they need, but it's also about using the LMS platform, using the ERPs to communicate, and all of that. For me, coming to your question, that don't they get intimidated with so much which is being bombarded on them, so much of expectation out of them. Now, one point I will take from Anupama ma'am. Yes, it is very important for the leaders of the school to have that kind of positive mindset. Now, if we ourselves as the leaders, if we give up, then definitely the team gives. If we give up, then definitely the team gives. Important is, am I there?
Yeah, ma'am, please. Bit of a jitter, no worries.
Hello.
Yeah, ma'am, please.
Please carry on.
Signal is a bit bleak, it seems like, yeah. So I think the central purport of Mini Ma'am is like the leader has it in themselves, and
Okay.
uh,
So we do something called as,
we've lost you a bit. Yeah.
signal has been a little fluctuating.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so coming back to the leaders, where we have to be very strong with our team, and it's essential that we give them the continuous professional development qualification. Now, that cannot just be a one timer, it has to be an ongoing thing. And to add to that, give the liberty to the teacher to try out, to
Mm,
innovate, to bring in new element to the classroom. We cannot say that, okay, here's one structured thing which all the teachers, all the sections have to do identical, right? Ultimately, we have to know that they are not clones. So
mhm,
believe in the system, believe in the teachers, let them bring in their creativity into the classroom. And
mhm,
for that, the professional development qualification really helps them to keep up to the changing trends, to keep up
mhm.
to the latest.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Believing in the teachers is, I think, is the central message what Madam Adhikari is talking about. Uh, Finally, to Azhar Sahab, how do you
Yeah.
cope
Uh,
up with that? Yeah.
yeah. Me following the British curriculum, we have been doing this aspect of NEP. But what it will show up right now is whatever we are doing, it is for the development of the child. No,
Mm,
that culture has to be brought in.
mm,
And the NEP has done that. It is not just producing some machines in the school. It's
mhm,
really getting into the uh, each child's interest and bringing out that each potential and making
mhm,
that as a career.
mhm.
So that takes something from part of the teacher, but that is the culture which will ensure the India is on the top.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we are just closing with the 1
Yeah.
p.m. window. Dr. Surbi, a quick vote of thanks. And I think a lot of dimensions have opened up. We have learned phenomenally from all our three panelists today. And the parents' outlook of it is something which we really need to explore further and forward. And teachers' incentives, believing is one part of it all. But when in any organization, if are the parents supporting this huge transformation, and are they really supporting it financially, or are they really in their classical cribbing mode? Oh, the school is charging this, the school is doing this. So somewhere or the other, the success of NEP has to be communicated to the parents predominantly. I think that's a subject matter of yet another learning hour we will be opening up. I can see Anupa ma'am has a lot to talk about it, and she can go on and on, but for the paucity of time, Dr. Surbi, let's
Like, just a
wrap up
second.
today's.
Just a
Yeah.
second. When you said about the parents, just last line, you have to create the culture of your school.
Mhm, mhm,
The moment your child is convinced,
mhm.
your parent is convinced.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. I think
That's
Madam has given the solution. Yeah, Dr.
absolutely.
Surbhi.
That's the mantra, and I think we are concluding with a very precious tenet, the classical problem of all schools, so wherein the parents need to be convinced and brought along into the compact of learning. So I take this moment and opportunity to thank our distinguished, esteemed panelists, Dr. Anupma Mishra ma'am from Sunbeam School, Varna, Varanasi, the seat of Kashi Vishwanath. We also thank Mini Adhikari Madam, Honorable Principal from PNC Cognitio School, Bengaluru, the tech capital of the country, and Mohammad Azhar sir from Knowledge Academy School, Chennai, Honorable Principal sir, and sir had been with us in the NEP reading 4 years back when we had conducted it at Delhi. So so this is a great, I think, unraveling moment wherein each principal we are delving deep and learning the practitioners insights, and discovering them how we can solve this riddle, of how the better implementation can happen. And I'm sure that the flexibility aspect where we talk about, how the learners, can choose their learning trajectories and programs according to their talents and interests. This is, I think, the central goal, and where we say the NEP is student centric, child centric. I think there's a lot being done, and a lot more will be done, definitely, with the torch of light we have with us in the form of NEP. Thank you so much once again.